Welcome to In Our Community with host Penny Wolfgang. Penny Wolfgang talks about the issues affecting your neighborhood. If you have a suggestion for a show guest on In Our Community, call the Big Weck at 716-783-9120 weekdays during normal business hours. Here's your host, Judge Penny Wolfgang on the Big Weck.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to In Our Community, a public service program dedicated to issues of concern, local, topical, for all of us who live here in the Western New York community. And I'm your host, Penny Wolfgang. We are going to be talking today with two ladies who are really making a difference for us here in Western New York. Robin Mann, who is the executive director of the Prevention Council of Erie County. And also with us is Karen Owen, who is the director of a program, Strengthening Families program. So as you can tell just from the names, how important these issues are to us here in Western New York. And I guess what we really ought to find out is, hi Robin, what is the Prevention Council of Erie County, just in general?
Hello, thank you so much for having us. So the Prevention Council of Erie County is a nonprofit organization that focuses on substance abuse, prevention, early intervention, and education. We have 12 different programs at the Prevention Council that surround those topics, again, prevention, early intervention, and education. We service from the very young, so little kids, through our senior population, and we have programs for them all, including programs for families as well. So there's individual programs. We work within the communities with different coalitions, and we work in various school districts throughout Erie County.
Is this, obviously by the name, it's a branch of, it's under the auspices or direction or whatever you call it of the county?
We are not.
That's what.
No,
yeah.
We are not. We are a not-for-profit organization.
Okay, I got that wrong.
But we serve, that's okay, but we service Erie County. So that's our reach throughout Erie County, yes.
So is it a private organization and not-for-profit? I mean, how does it work?
It is a non-for-profit organization. Our funds come from the Office of Alcohol and Substance Abuse Services, OASIS.
Oh.
And it's channeled through the county to us.
Oh, okay. We've heard of OASIS, so it's one of the programs that they are sponsoring.
That is correct, yes.
Okay, because that's been in existence for a while. Have you been in existence for the program for a while?
We have been, yes. Thank you. We have been, we just celebrated our 76th year. So we have been in the community for 76 years. We've gone through several name changes, but we have been of service for 76 years. And our Strengthening Families program has been in existence for 26 years.
Oh, my gosh. I'm glad we're talking about this on the Big Weck in our community, because we like to know everything that's going on. And when you said it's been in existence for 70-something years, I thought to myself, oh, my gosh, what a dummy that I'm not familiar. But I know why, because you changed the name a few times, right?
We have changed our name.
But the prevention, but has the focus, I mean, have we had the same problems for 76 years, Robin?
We certainly have. It is addiction is a family disease. And so it has been in families for many years, and it's important to educate individuals so they understand what their risk factors may be, to help break the cycle of addiction. But we have been servicing the community, yes, for many decades.
That's a good. You just mentioned something that I was thinking to talk to you about, which is important. What are the risk factors? You mentioned that, and we're talking about the fact that this has been going on forever, but I thought to myself, it must have changed over the years, but maybe not. I mean, maybe addiction is something that's just maybe changed form a little bit, but has always been around.
That is correct, yes. Substances may have changed.
That's what I was thinking of.
However, addiction has been around, and that itself has not changed. Some of the risk factors include genetics, being predisposed. Some of the other risk factors may include just life and how we handle various traumas, what are our coping skills, when we're met with various traumatic experiences or stressful experiences, how do we cope? Maybe miseducation about substances and how it impacts us and what its impact is on our bodies. So there's numerous risk factors for many people. Sometimes if you're in a community, and I don't necessarily mean outside of your home, but if you're in your home, it's normalized to use substances, then you think it's okay to use substances because in your eyes, everyone's doing it. So what's the big deal? So sometimes it is normalized. So there's many different risk factors, yes.
When you mentioned, Karen was nodding, so I think she's agreeing and wants to explain a little further for us. I don't know, there's argument of whether something is genetics or whether it's, environment? What's the other word? It's either genetics or it's just what you're used to, normalized in your community.
Within your family, within your community. We also, one thing that Robin didn't mention is medical circumstances. People being injured and receiving pain medication that they then become addicted to.
And then become addicted.
Right.
So heard a lot about that.
So it's not necessarily for those people. It isn't necessary. Their environment is what they needed for treatment, and they didn't have the coping skills once they were released from treatment. So now they are substance users when before they weren't.
But to go back to something we were talking about before, something maybe not, it may be environment, like you said, but it may be like in the family. In other words, the generations may have some kind of the same kind of addiction. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Correct.
That is correct.
Explain what I'm saying.
Well, because if it's genetics and if it is hereditary, then there is a family history. So it may be granddad was a substance user, but his child wasn't, but a grandchild is. So it carries within the family. It doesn't meet every generation necessarily, but it will affect other people within the family.
Now, what's changed as the years have gone by, as you've mentioned, is different substances. People may be addicted in different generations or different times to different kinds of substances, right? I'm going to assume that alcohol is something that's always been a part of treatment, right? Or one of the problems.
Alcohol is a substance, and yes, then the disease of alcoholism is another form of that could be hereditary as well. So it is another form of addiction. All the other substances have been around for hundreds of years. Opiates have been around for hundreds of years. So that's not anything new. And now with the newer generations, we have so many synthetic drugs that people are becoming addicted to. And it affects families as a whole.
What is Strengthening Families program?
Strengthening Families program is a parenting program that is inclusive of the entire family, so that everyone is learning some of the same things, some coping skills, some better communication, how to develop structure within the family, and in some cases reuniting families. And everyone is learning the same thing. Strengthening Families we are going into our 27th year here in Buffalo. It is a program, like I said, that people are referred from the county and from various agencies and schools. The families are referred. They are families that have children between the ages of 5 and 15, and they attend for 14-week sessions in classes that are facilitated with a curriculum, an evidence-based curriculum with a hold rate with the information of 5 years. So things that you're learning now with your child is good for about 5 years, and then they've outgrown that information, and it's time for new information for them, new education. So we do welcome families to come back once they've completed, and it's time that the children have grown up some, so they can return.
So what are some of the courses? What are the names, or what are they about?
Some of the courses are problem solving, effective communication, learning how to have a conversation, developing some structure within the family, like having rules and follow through with the rules. Because a lot of people don't follow through with the rules because it's not convenient for them. But we want parents to learn how to follow through with the rules, setting some normalcy within the family, especially families that are in addiction or coming from treatment, how to get your family back together. You're all on the same page and learning how to live with each other without the use of a substance.
So I guess a lot of this has to do with the family dynamics. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes.
Teaching to, what effect one person might have the addiction, but the point is it's going to affect the whole family, right?
Absolutely. The one thing, just to expand a little bit on what Karen was saying with strengthening families, it is a 3-hour program, and the first hour, the parents and the children are separated, but they learn the same topic. So if the topic is communication, effective communication, parents are separated in one room talking about effective ways to communicate, and the children are learning in another room effective communication skills. The second hour, they come together and they have a meal together, because research shows us that families that eat together have a reduced rate of substance use, because you're sitting and you're connecting and you're building those protective factors. So we have a meal, a hot cooked meal for the families. And oftentimes, many of those families, they don't eat together. So this is foreign for some of them, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they may eat, but you're eating in front of the TV. You might be eating in your room, but they're not sitting down at a table. And so we have conversation cards on the table, and we encourage both the children and the parents to ask their kids questions, right, until it becomes natural for them, right? And we have some questions that are funny questions, that kids like to ask, and, they get giddy behind. But again, it just promotes conversation and getting to know each other as a family. And then the third hour, they stay together and they practice what they learned the first hour. So it's not just information; it's education that then is applied in situation. Exactly, right. So that we are meeting the needs of how people learn. Right. Some people are good with auditory. Some people are more tactile. This program really caters to all learning styles. And so the third hour, they come together and they work together. And then there's some homework assignments, which just reinforces what they're learning throughout the program. And the kids really enjoy that, because if the parents don't do it, then they can get on them for not doing their homework. And they definitely will tell the next week that mom or dad did not do their homework. So again, it brings the family back together to strengthen, just like its name says, to strengthen the family bond.
Now, isn't it amazing, maybe it isn't amazing to you, but surprising how a little thing like, I mean, it seems like a little thing, eating a meal together, but what a difference it could make, and how, I want to say, like in the old days on television programs, or now on the new, even on the new days on Blue Bloods, I don't know if you watch it, but the family dinner is the most important part of the, actually in that program, it's the central part of the whole program. But in real life, it can make such a big difference too. And it's amazing that because of, technology, or I don't know what to blame it on, social media, that people don't think of sitting down and having a meal together as a family.
That's right.
It is very important. And, with being able to ask, for the children to be able to ask such poignant questions to their parents and get an effective response, an honest response, and learn something about each other by having those conversations at mealtime. So the questions could be, did you make someone happy today? Did you say, were you kind to someone today? So something as small as that, and that has the kids thinking sometimes, somebody was kind to me, or I was kind to somebody, or I'm kind to you right now, Mom. So I've heard that. I'm talking to you.
I'm here, aren't I?
And so just for them to have a conversation, with most of them, is foreign. It's a foreign thing to them.
There's probably a lot of other not little things, but what you would think is unimportant, but that turn out to be very crucial when you have these conversations, right? This is another part, I guess, of what you're trying to, when you said communication with language, not like violence or actions. Is that one of the ideas?
The conversations and the communication, again, effective so that the children are able to get their point across in a positive manner and parents responding to them in a positive manner. So using something as simple as I statements. And so it's about you, how you feel, and not pointing the finger at someone. And that's normally how a lot of the negative conversations go. But with this is positive because they're able to say how they feel and get a positive response from their parents.
I just want to interrupt for a moment. In case you just tuned in, everyone, you are listening to In Our Community on the Big WEC. And today we are talking about the Prevention Council of Erie County, and the Executive Director, Robin Mann, is with us, and Karen Owen, who's the director of the program known as Strengthening Families Program, which is obviously just one of the many programs that you offer. Did we talk about any? Do you want to talk about any of the other programs in depth? You know what you have to offer.
Oh, we have quite a few. I want to kind of focus on strengthening families,
Okay.
but we do have, just a really quick overview. We do have evidence-based programs that are implemented in the schools, various schools throughout Erie County. We have our WISE program, which is a wellness program for our senior citizens. The golden age.
Are we
I don't want
trying
to call
to
them
think,
senior citizens.
in other words,
the golden age.
you ladies are trying to think of a tactful way to say old people.
No.
Or elderly people, or
our seniors, right?
Okay.
And we've been told several
not
times
taking
that
this
they're not
personally.
seniors.
Go right ahead. You know.
We've been told several times that they're not seniors.
Oh. Really? Okay.
We have, and it's a population that's often forgotten when we talk about addiction and substance use.
Yes.
So we do have a program where we work with them in various community centers throughout the county, and it focuses all on them, where they are in their stage of life, interactions between substances and the medications they may be taking, how to be an advocate for themselves in the doctor's office and be able to talk about these things, and how to store their medicines, how to dispose of their medications. So it is an educational program for them. And again, they enjoy it. It's fun. It's an opportunity to talk to people, to find out some things, to dispel some myths that may be happening. During COVID, the research showed us that alcoholism spiked with our seniors. And so with some people, there's a lot of loneliness and isolation. And so there may be more substance use, and we don't think about them oftentimes. So we do have our WISE program where we do that, like I said, in various locations throughout Erie County. We have a very robust mindfulness program, another way to be able to focus and kind of redirect yourselves and your thoughts. And that is linked to prevention methods as well, being in the moment, recognizing how you feel. We have some early intervention programs, which is our Teen Intervene. And that is working with youth who have started to use mild to moderate use. So we have quite a few programs. We have another parenting program where Strengthening Families really is a family-focused program. We also do Triple P, which is a positive parenting program, and that focuses on the parents, where Strengthening Families really looks at the family unit and how to make an impact with the family unit, not just the parents. And it brings in everyone. And I think one thing that we may not have mentioned is we invite grandparents to come. We invite anyone who's in the household, because the idea is to have everyone speaking the same language and learning the same terms. Because one is consistency, but two, it provides support. It reinforces the same ideas amongst the family. It's not where mom is saying one thing and dad says something totally different, or grandma comes and usurps it all because grandma said, right? So we invite the entire family unit to come if they're going to impact or have any interaction with that particular child or children.
So the whole idea, one of the main ideas, is to have different coping skills so that people, don't resort to the use of to intervene from the use of medications or substance abuse or, alcohol, drugs, anything like that, to find other outlets, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now, I just wanted to ask you, I think you mentioned you said referrals. How do people, like my listeners, they might say, oh, I would like to learn about this or I would participate. Can they just call or volunteer, or do they have to be referred, or how do you get your clients?
The clients are referred by the county and various agencies within the county. So, in schools, we get referrals from the schools as well. Families, children in school, maybe because of behavior or whatever, a counselor will call and refer the child's family to Strengthening Families. The county job development, MAT unit, those referrals come from there with the county. So this county, the schools, and various other agencies within Erie County.
Do you have success stories that you can share with us?
We have many success stories.
Okay, well, without the name, but just like examples.
We've had major success story with a person that attended Strengthening Families with their parent years ago. They wound up in both programs. So they did the 6 to 10 program, and then they did the 14 to 15 program. And when this person became an adult, they attended the program with their children. And at some point, this person became an employee with Strengthening Families and is now a PhD.
That's an amazing story. You can share that one. So that's for sure.
She is awesome and still in contact with us on a regular basis and still participates in our activities. So that is one of our major success stories. But we have many with education that have gone on and with their education have gone on to be employed or moved away. But most people still stay in contact. So just because you have successfully completed Strengthening Families doesn't mean you ever leave us or that we leave you. So we continue to support people that have successfully completed, and we're here for them. So Strengthening Family is a family within itself, just like our agency is a close-knit family, and Strengthening Family is a family for everyone that attends.
Are the needs increase? Is the need for these programs increasing, modifying, lessening, staying the same? Because you've mentioned so many years that you've both been involved.
I think that in some cases, actually, it's increasing because there are so many new, like I said, the synthetic drugs. There's so many drugs out there now. The age of use is becoming younger and younger. So the need is there, and that's why I say, the need has increased because the children are younger and younger using.
And what about the methods, treatments? Those have obviously improved because it's medical treatment for addiction and that we didn't have before, and maybe for alcoholism, I don't know, but definitely for drug addiction.
Well, there are many places for treatment, yes, but the person still has to follow through. It's a want to change.
Motivation. Is that what you're saying? The person
they have to be motivated to want change in their life.
And what you're trying to do, obviously, is break the cycle. Is that a way of explaining it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, break the cycle of addiction, right? Mm-hmm. We want to not only break that cycle, but we also want to prevent it. So how can we teach?
That's right.
So that folks aren't resorting to substances to self-medicate. How do we teach so that people understand what their personal risk factors are? So not only do we want to break the cycle, we want to prevent the substance abuse from occurring.
Which is a very worthy goal, and I should have thought of that because it is called Prevention Council. So, in a way, breaking the cycle is one thing, but preventing would be a lot better too, I'm sure. How does where do you go? Is there other locations? Are there physical buildings, a place where people meet, and in real life?
Yes, our office, the Prevention Council, is located at 1625 Hurdle Ave in Buffalo. Where Strengthening Family is held is at St. Mary's School for the Deaf. So we have dedicated space there on their campus for the Strengthening Families to be held.
And what are we talking about in numbers? I mean, like how many people are you working with at any one time, for example?
At any one time, there can be up to 20 families in a session. So that could be 20 parents, it could be 40 parents, if they all come with a spouse or a significant other, and there can be up to 30 children in the classroom at any given time.
And you mentioned, it's amazing to me, the range of age that you're all the way from, I don't know what the youngest would be, but up to senior citizens.
Yes. So 5 to senior.
Oh, 5. I didn't know if you said that before. So that's really, as you said, it's sort of a wraparound services for every age and every generation, really.
Yeah, we service, again, from the agency itself services from the younger age. So we'll start around pre-K. We have programs even as early as pre-K. Again, teaching communication and being able to talk about your feelings all the way through our senior population, yes.
That's amazing to me, really. Let's tell, like, specifically, again, how people could first get more information. Are you online? Can look it up on the website for more information? Can they call somebody the old-fashioned way? What can happen?
All of the above. All of the above. You can go on the website of the Prevention Council of Erie County, and you can see all of the programs, and Strengthening Families is on that website. Or you can call the agency itself and ask for the program that you would like, ask for Strengthening Families. That number is 716-831-2298 for the Prevention Council. Oh, I missed our name. For the Prevention Council, and just ask for Strengthening Families program.
One other thing that I'd like to just mention quickly about the Strengthening Families program is that we have a boutique, and we often have, and it's a clothing boutique primarily, but we do sometimes have smaller appliances that may be donated, and we do share that with the families of Strengthening Family, but we also share that with the community, and we are so grateful to those who donate to our boutique because it is lightly, gently used clothing, and we give that back. So there's about 2 days throughout the year, or two times. It's usually like 2 or 3 times throughout the year where Karen and her team will set up a clothing giveaway. So clothing that is given to us, we then turn around and give it to those that are in need. A referral is not needed. The only referral that's needed is a need. So if someone has a need, we do have clothing, and we give it away to individuals who need that. And we have men's clothing to children's clothing, right? And so I don't want to say we have something for everyone because we're at the mercy of donations. And whatever we have, if it's something that someone can use, we gladly give that back to the community. Not just our Strengthening Families, but we give that back to the community.
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned that. So we can. I'm sure our listeners would be able to, cooperate. What would they do? Drop it off at if they had something physically they wish to give to you? Drop it off at the Hurdle Avenue.
They can drop it off at Hurdle Avenue, preferably right at St. Mary's.
Oh, that's right.
Or they can call and I'll meet them there, or meet them somewhere and pick it up myself.
Well, I hope you've done such a good job, and you are continuing to give us such an important service here in Western New York. We thank you so much for talking to us. Again, we have talked to Prevention Council of Erie County on the Big WEC in our community. Please join us again next week, same time, on the Big WEC. Bye now.
You've been listening to In Our Community with host Penny Wolfgang on the Big Weck. Penny Wolfgang talks about the issues affecting your neighborhood. If you have a suggestion for a show guest on In Our Community, call the Big Weck at 716-783-9120, weekdays during normal business hours. Listen to the podcast anytime, on demand at bigweck.com. Join us again for In Our Community next Saturday on the Big Weck.